they are modified to meet the changing environment. Here, environment means we refer to the business environment. If any business is engaged in this sort of pollution, people are opposing. So it is the duty of every company to have the social responsibility. Harmony means there should be a harmonious relationship between the management and the workers. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence. In today's session, that is session 2, we will be looking into the second part of Principles of Management. Now, in continuation of the first one, we have in this session, I will be discussing about the significance of principles of management. So why principles of management are so very important? Now, we have various reasons for importance of the principles of management. Now, the first one is providing managers with useful insights into reality. Second one is optimum utilization of resources and effective administration. Third one is scientific decisions. Fourth one, meeting changing environment requirements. Fifth one is fulfilling social responsibility. Sixth one is management training, education and research. Now, in the forthcoming slides, I will be going into detail about each of these points. Now, the first one, providing managers with useful insights into reality. Now, how do you just elaborate on this point? Now, we all know that practice of principles will help in better understanding of managerial situations and circumstances. So, whatever the management principles are provided to us, it is an insight into the real situations. So, whatever the managers have experienced in their own fields, based on those experiences only, these principles have been formulated. So, we can get an insight into real world, real life situations. So, management principles are considered as very important. Then, so managerial situations and circumstances. So, what are the circumstances under which we can apply these principles of management? So, that depends on the personal abilities of the manager, how he is judging the situation and under what situation, what principle has to be applied. So, that depends on his own personal judgment. Then, learn from past mistakes. So these principles of management, they are based on experience. So on the basis of the rich experience and the formulation of these principles, we are able to learn from the past mistakes. So in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, there were no principles of management as such. Then we got these principles of management through careful observation, research and experimentation. So these principles help us to learn from the past mistakes made by the managers, and they also help in increasing managerial efficiency. So how the manager can be more effective in his field. So that is through this application of these principles of management. So here you can see in this picture the vision, mission, strategy and the action plan. So managers will be mainly engaged in these 4 activities. Now, next point. So, next point tells us that utilization of resources and effective administration. So, what do you mean by maximum or best optimum utilization of resources? So, optimum utilization of resources means maximum benefit with minimum cost. So, whatever is the resources of the organization, if you can see in this picture here, the importance of resource utilization. So, what is the best way to utilize your resources? So, the lesser you use the resource, if this denotes the resources, so the lesser you use, the more you earn. So the best utilization, that is maximum benefit with minimum cost. So if you use more resources, you will be spending more money. But then you should see that you get maximum benefit out of minimum cost. So the cost should be least, but the derivation, whatever you are getting, the benefit you are getting, that should be maximum from each of the resources. Then effective administration. administration. So how do you have effective administration? So effective administration is through limiting the boundaries. So you have the manager's duties and responsibilities. So each manager will have his own boundaries where he can take decisions and where these principles help him in taking the decisions. So it limits the boundaries of managerial decision. So where he can apply his own personal judgment and where he has to follow the company's policies and rules. So all these are through the principles of management. So principles of management, they provide us with the policies, rules, strategies, etc. So procedures, etc. So and based on all these things, he will be taking the decisions. So it will be limiting his decision making power. So he will know where he has to follow the policy, where he can use his personal judgment. Then free from personal prejudices. So whenever there is any situation where the manager has to take decision making, so he can always fall back upon the company's policies. So whatever the policies of the companies and whatever the rules are there, he can safely apply these rules based on the situations, and these rules are applicable to everyone in the organization. So all these decisions taken will be free from personal prejudices. Then bound by principle of contribution to organizational objectives. So whenever there is effective administration, so effective administration means it should be the main aim of effective administration is to achieve the organizational goals. So his main aim is to achieve the organizational objectives. So utilization of resources and effective administration, this is the second importance of principles of management. Now coming to the third point, scientific decisions. If you can see here, the mind, the things are going on in the mind, and all these things are thoughts which are going on in the mind. So the scientific decisions. So it calls upon all the managers to take scientific decisions. Now how can you take scientific decisions? Scientific decisions should be based on facts. Facts means whatever is the reality. So what is the reality of the problem, that we should know. Second one is thoughtful. So he should know how to analyze the situation, and justifiable, and he should see that whatever decision he takes, it is fair for that occasion. Then next one is the decision should be timely. So he should not be in a hurry, or he should see that he takes the correct decision at the right time. Then realistic. So there should be reality in his decisions and subject to measurement and evaluation. So all the decisions which he has taken should be subject to measurement and evaluation. So after carefully analyzing all the alternatives of the situation, then only he should come to a conclusion. Then emphasis on logic. So his decision should be logical. It should not be something which is irrational. Then based on objective assessments of the situation. So objective assessment means he should analyze all the various facets of the problem and then take a decision which is scientific. Now, what are scientific decisions? Scientific decisions are based on facts, thoughtful and justifiable, and they are also timely, realistic, logic, and it should be based on objective assessment of the situation. Then next point is meeting changing environment requirements. Now coming to the significance of principles of management, they are modified to meet the changing environment. Here environment means we refer to the business environment. Now what is this business environment? So business has its own environment. It may be internal environment or the external environment. So the environment in which the business works, it keeps on changing. So these management principles, they are modified. They can be changed according to the changing business environment. For example, you take the example of division of work. So the principle of division of work. So what does this principle tell us? This principle tells us that the work should be divided and one person should be given the same task. He should be able to do the same task again and again, so that he becomes more and more efficient in that. Now, take this example of division of work. Nowadays we see most of the companies, they are outsourcing some of the work. So what kind of work they are outsourcing? They are outsourcing their research and development, so that they can give better products, and then the share transfer management. So this share transfer also is one of the non-core activities which most of the businesses are outsourcing. And along with that, we have the advertising. So what is this advertising? So this advertising activity is also being outsourced to some other company. So why they are doing all this? So to see that they get efficient services. So most of this, whatever the core activities of the business are done in the organization itself, and non-core activities, what you call, so they are being outsourced, so that there is division of work, and along with division of work, we can get very effective and efficient work done by professionals. So this is an example of application of principles. So we have the best application of principles of management. So this is one very good example. So based on the changing environment, the business management is also changing. Then coming to the next point, that is fulfilling social responsibility. Now let us, if you can see this drawing here, so we have this picture here which says recycle of waste. So recycling of waste. So we all know that most of the business organizations, they are engaged in manufacturing, and most of them release all the waste effluents into the seas and rivers, thereby polluting the environment. Nowadays we see that people are more and more aware of their environment. They want to have a pollution free environment, and if any business is engaged in this sort of pollution, people are opposing. So it is the duty of every company to have the social responsibility. Now what do you mean by social responsibility? Social responsibility means they should have the responsibility to see that their business does not pollute the environment, whether it is the air pollution, sound pollution, or the water pollution. So any sorts of pollution should be avoided by the business. So even if they are engaged in all these pollutions, they should try to see that the pollution level is kept to the minimum. Then why this fulfilling the social responsibilities? So there is increased awareness of the public. The public are more aware. They are now more aware of the benefits of protecting the nature, and the natural flora and fauna are being protected by the public. So because of that, the businesses have to fulfill the social responsibility. And one more thing is, business can survive only if there is cooperation from the society. Business cannot survive in isolation. So in order for the business to survive, it needs the cooperation and the support of the society. So it also owes something back to the society. If the business is prospering, it is because of the society's cooperation and support. If the society does not support the business, then the business is bound to fail. So whatever profit it has been earning from the society, it should give back something. It should see that whatever the earnings it has received, so it should engage itself in philanthropic activities for the benefit of the society. Now, if you can take the example of equity. Now, what does this equity mean? Equity means equitable wages. So you should see that all the employees are considered equal. They are treated equally. There are no divisions based on caste, creed, or religion, etc. Now, this equity principle, it does not apply to wages alone. So it should apply to customers. So care for the environment, and dealing with business associates. So we all know that customers are the most valuable stakeholders of the business. So the consumer or the customer, he becomes more important. So the business should consider the customers on an equity principle, and similarly care for the environment. So caring for the environment, whether it is anywhere, whether it is air pollution, water pollution, or any other sorts of pollution, we should see that environmental regulations are strictly followed, and even while dealing with the business associates, this equity principle has to be followed. Then next one comes the management, training, education, and research. Now we all know that management is based on the theories of management. So this entire discipline of management, it has been evolved during the Industrial Revolution. There were no rules or principles of management. So only after the evolution of the theories of management, we have formed a discipline called management. So these theories of management form the basics of this management as a subject. Now, the theory is the base for the subject of management. Suppose you want to get an entry or admission into any of the IIMs, so you have to pass the management aptitude test. Now, these tests are based on the understanding of the principles of management. So, one should have a deeper understanding of the principles of management to pass these tests. Now, these principles provide a basic groundwork for development of management principles. Now, these principles of management, whatever has been formulated, they are the basic groundwork. So, based on these principles of management, you can develop the managerial efficiency. So, they are formulated through experimentation, research, and observation. So, these theories become very, very important for running the organization. These principles enable refinement of management practices by development of new techniques. So, we can refine the management practices by developing new techniques. As I have told you earlier, management practices have been evolved through careful observation and research, and nowadays we can see the development of new techniques like just-in-time and Kaizen. Now, what is this Kaizen? So, here there is a continuous improvement in the quality of work done. So, every day all the persons who are engaged in one particular task, they come together, brainstorm, and they just see that the quality of work, whatever is given, has been improved. So, this Kaizen or just-in-time technology. So, what is this just-in-time? So, just-in-time is nothing but you see that you just replenish the stock just when the time the stock is getting over. So, in this way, we can save a lot of money invested in purchase of stock. So, these are the new latest techniques of management which have been evolving. So, these principles of management have a history of evaluation and they continue to evolve today also. So, even nowadays, even now we can see these principles of management which are evolving. So, every day we are getting latest techniques of principles of management. Why? Because it is related to human behavior and human behavior keeps on changing, and to see that we update ourselves with this, so management have a history of evaluation and they continue to evolve. Now, so we have just finished the discussion on the importance of significance of principles of management. Now, we will just see who is this Taylor. So, he is also known as the father of scientific management. So, Frederick Winslow Taylor. So, we call Taylor's scientific management. So, he was born in 1856 and he started his career as an apprentice. So, apprentice is a person who is undergoing training. So, under a HUD, he will be undergoing training, and he started his career as an apprentice. He solved the factory conditions at the grassroots level. See, observed the factory conditions. So when he was working as an apprentice at the shop floor, so he was working at the shop floor and he was observing the work of the other workers. So when he was observing the work of other workers, so he formulated this idea of scientific management. So then after his apprenticeship, he later on educated himself. He became a mechanical engineer and he sought to improve industrial efficiency. So he tried to improve industrial efficiency by just observation. So what are his contributions? We will just see. Now, F.W. Taylor's contribution. So what are his contribution? He is most remembered. You can see this time stopwatch here, and he is remembered for time and motion studies. Now, what is this time and motion studies? Now, first let us look into what is scientific management. So, in scientific management, F.W. Taylor, he observed the time and motion studies. What is this time and motion studies? So, here he observed that there was a standard way of doing things. So, for every motion, so for every work, whether it was very small or very big, there was one best way of doing the work. So today we call it as time and motion studies, and he also fixed the time for each work. So to find the best way to do the things. Only through observation he thought that we can find out the best way to do things. And then he also said that the partnership between trained and qualified management and cooperative and innovative workforce contributes the best result. So we should have a trained and qualified management. So management which thinks on scientific lines, and then workers who are innovative, who are always cooperative, so they can make a best combination for the business. Then after that he published the article Principles of Management. So his Principles of Management was published in 1911. So in this Principles of Management, he tells us that best way of doing things, how to improve the efficiency of workers in the shop floor level, how the shop floor can be best managed, how you can improve the efficiency of workers, how you can get the work done within the stipulated time and with the least number of workers and least number of time. All these things he helped us to know. And then he also introduced the piece rate wage system. See, Taylor wanted to differentiate between the efficient workers and the non-efficient workers. So he decided to reward the efficient workers and punish he wanted to impose penalty on those workers who were not very efficient. So he introduced the piece rate wage system. Now what is this piece rate wage system? So in this system, based on the production of the workers, we fix the price. So if he has produced 100 pieces of the product, then you fix a particular wage for that worker. And if he has not reached 100, if he has reached only 80, then you decide one different wage rate. So in this way, he tried to reward the efficient workers and thereby motivate the inefficient workers to earn more money. Then next, we look into the meaning of Principles of Scientific Management. So, as the name itself suggests, so scientific management means it is based on science. So, there is no room for any approximation, there is no room for any estimation. Scientific management refers to an important stream of one of the earlier schools of thought of management, referred to as the classical school. So, this belongs to the classical school of management. Classical school. So, this scientific management, if you can see here, it is all based on science. So, if you can, this wheel symbol, it denotes the machineries. Then we have this things, atom which is going on, all these things, and then we reach a particular important decision. So it refers to an important stream of one of the earlier schools of thought. So it is also called as the classical school of scientific management. Now, what is the actual meaning? How would F.W. Taylor or Frederick Winslow Taylor define scientific management? He said that scientific management knows exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and the cheapest way. So here scientific management means you should know exactly what is the work to be done. So first the management should understand what is the work to be. It has to get it done from the workers and see that they do it in the best and the cheapest way. So the best and the cheapest way that should be done, that is maximum benefit with minimum cost. Next, we will just see what are the principles of scientific management. So, in this, the first principle is science, not rule of thumb. Now, what is this science? Science means you should fix a standard for each job. So, what is the best way to do the job? The best materials and everything. So, science, not rule of thumb. Rule of thumb refers to approximation. So there should be no room for approximation. So there is no rule of thumb. We should not have this rule of thumb, but our principles of management are based on scientific principles. Then Taylor believed that there was only one best way to maximize efficiency. Now there is only one way of doing the best job, and this method can be developed through study and analysis. So he said that we should have the best way of doing things. So what is the best way of doing things? We have to study. Only after careful study and analysis we can come to a conclusion that this is the most and the best efficient way of doing things. Then he should also see that it should substitute the rule of thumb. Rule of thumb means there should be no room for any approximations. So we should know exactly what is the job to be done, who has to do it, what is the time limit, what are the motions involved. So everything has to be decided in advance, and this should be done throughout the organization for any type of job. Then scientific method involved investigation of traditional methods. So we have to just investigate the traditional methods. So through how do you investigate? Through work study. So you studied the work of all the individuals and see what is the best way, unifying the best practices. Now you see what are the best practices which are being followed by the individuals and developing a standard method. And then after careful observation, after careful analysis, you see that you have a standard method of doing the things which would be followed throughout the organization. So that best method or the standard method should be implemented throughout the whole organization. Then next in the principle of scientific principle is harmony. If you can see the picture here, so there are different colors but they create a harmony. So it creates a pleasing picture. So this pleasing picture is what we need. So what is this pleasing picture? So we should realize here harmony, not discord. So harmony means there should be a harmonious relationship between the management and the workers, and discord means there should not be any conflict. Now what is this? Both should realize that each one is important. So management should not think that it is important because it is investing capital, and workers also should not feel that the management cannot do without the workers. But both should know that they are correlated, or one is interdependent on the other. Management and workers should transform their thinking. So they should know that only with the cooperation, or only when there is prosperity of the workers, the management also can prosper, and when the management prospers, it will be prosperity to the workers also. Then, so scientific management has for its foundation the firm conviction that true interests of the two are one and the same. So whether it is the management and the workers, the both interests should be taken care of. So the prosperity for the employer cannot exist for a long time unless there is prosperity for the employees. So prosperity for the employers, these are interrelated along with the prosperity of the employees, and workers should be taken into confidence. So whenever important decisions are taken by the management, they have to take into the workers' suggestions. So any important suggestion given by the workers should be implemented and the worker should be amply rewarded. So only then the business can prosper. So harmony, not discord. So we should see that there are no conflicts between management and workers, and we should try to have open lines of communication between the management and workers. Only then we can have harmony. And one more thing is, the workers should not resort to strikes. So they should see that there are no trade unions, and if there is any problem for the workers, it should be given a good hearing by the management and it should be resolved immediately so that there is no conflicts. Then the third principle of scientific management is cooperation, not individualism. So only when all the workers and the management, they cooperate with each other, only then we can run an organization. So this is in continuation of the previous principle, that is harmony, not discord. Cooperation, not individualism. That is, there should not be any competition. So a competition should be replaced by cooperation. So what is this cooperation? The scientific management has for its foundation the firm conviction that the true interests of the two are one and the same. So here the scientific management tells, what does it tells us? The true interest. What is the interest of the business? To make profit. So what is the interest of the workers? To gain, he should also prosper. He should be able to satisfy his financial needs. So we should see that the principles of management are one and the same. So both the organizational goals and the individual goals should correlate with each other, and the prosperity of the employer cannot exist. So there should be equal division of work and responsibility. So work and responsibility should be equally divided between workers and management. So management should work along with the workers side by side, guiding them and encouraging them wherever the situation necessitates it to do so. Then next one is, the fourth principle of scientific management is development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. So each and every, so each one as a singular and everyone as a whole. So each and everyone should develop his or own greatest efficiency and prosperity. So when the employees join an organization, it will be with his own needs. He will have his own needs when he joins an organization. So it may be his financial needs, social needs, esteem needs, or self-actualization needs. So these principles sees these management scientific principles, they see that every person in the organization is realizes, he gives his best. So he puts in his 100% efforts and thereby he is prospering. So he should prosper. So Taylor was of the view that the concern for efficiency should be built in right from the process of employee selection. Now, when you are selecting the workers to the organization, employees, it should be based on scientific principles. So you see that that person is the appointed for the right job, or when you select the employees to the organization, you see that that person is well qualified, well skilled and well suited for the job. Then each person should be scientifically selected. So scientific basis. So you adopt a scientific basis of selecting the workers. Then the work should suit his or her physical, mental and intellectual capacities. So whatever work you are giving to the employee. It should suit his temperament, his physical temperament, mental and intellectual capabilities. Based on that, the management should assign the jobs to each and every individual. Then next one is to increase efficiency. So, when you have selected the right person for the right job, fine, but then you should see that that person is working efficiently in the organization. Now, how do you see that he works efficiently? Then we should give him proper training. So, the required training should be given. Only then we can increase the efficiency. So, when the person works efficiently, it automatically contributes to the betterment of the organization. So, this will ensure that greatest efficiency and prosperity. So, when each worker works efficiently, that will be in the greater interest of the organization. So, he will be in a better position to attain the organizational goals. So, these are the various principles of scientific management. Thank you.